too many screens. Okay, so this webinar is about a project, European H2020 project. So it's financed by the European Commission. And the webinar is more about a product of the project and the project itself. The project is called FEEdBACk, and one of the products was a mobile application that was developed and is available to download in some countries of the European Union. The objectives of the project, as we are so few, so if any participant has doubts, you can interrupt and ask whatever you want. So feel free to ask the questions that you have. So the project is called FEEdBACk, and the long name is Fostering Energy Efficiency and Behavioral Change through ICT. So this project aims at developing, integrating, and testing new technologies that are or were designed to promote energy efficiency by changing users' behavior. So we set up 3 demonstrators initially. So one in Porto, in Lip, Germany, so Portugal, Lip, Germany, and Barcelona in Spain. And these demonstrators have distinct characteristics. So Porto is close to the ocean and is one big office building. In Lip, we have houses, so common houses in the interior part of Germany, and Barcelona is close to the Mediterranean, and it's the demonstrator is set up by a group of public buildings like libraries and schools and sports centers, etc. So we started with these 3 demos, and the idea was to develop a kind of a platform, which is a complex one that works behind the front end, so the interface with the user, and each user can download. So everyone can download the application and use it to learn how to save energy in different contexts. And we have behind that application a set of algorithms running linked to several databases, and the idea is to provide information to the user about his energy consumption and about how he can improve or increase energy efficiency. Of course, that we will not detail everything that we have here in this figure, but you will have some more details in the next speakers of this webinar about this part, but the focus will be on this application. So this is what is available for iOS and Android. So you can download this application. You just register, create a username and a password. You have to provide your email, and you'll have access to what we developed in FEEdBACk. So the application has 2 main parts. One that is related with making this part of learning about energy efficiency a bit funny and competitive. So you will have to watch some videos, and you have some quizzes, as it will be explained later, and you can earn points and progress in the game. And the application had also, so the first version had also some information related with meters and sensors. So it is important to explain that in a first stage, this application and the project was prepared to be implemented in a very contained part of these cities, the cities that I mentioned. So in Porto, it was only for a building, in Barcelona for 10 buildings, and in Germany for 25 houses. But then you have one link here. We will send a presentation after the webinar, and you can check here. This video explains how the application works. But then after COVID, we had to change some parts of the project, and we had three main goals. It was the part of the user engagement, so make it funny for the user, to participate and to learn about energy efficiency. The part of energy savings, so we wanted to promote this. We want that people learn how to save energy, and about comfort levels as well. And also the part of the behavioral change. So we want users to learn and to start behaving in a more energy efficient way. Due to COVID-19, we had to make some changes because the building in Porto and the buildings in Barcelona are almost empty. In fact, some of the buildings in Barcelona are really closed. So they have no people, and we had to make a simpler version of the application. So what you can download now is a second version, more simple than the first one. And we eliminated some parts because we had some team competition inside the buildings, and now we only have individual competition. We have leaderboards. And the application, instead of being contained in only three small parts of three cities, now they can be used, the application can be used nationwide. So everybody in Portugal, Spain, and Germany can use it, and we extend the number of countries. We also included Netherlands, Switzerland, and Denmark. So if you are based in one of these countries, you can download the application and start using it and learn how to save energy. Okay, so one important thing is that the part of the behavioral change, so is a part that evaluates if people learned and start applying what they learn in their daily life. We were planning to compare this, so your performance in the game with the energy savings that you achieved, really energy savings measured. And now it's no longer possible. So we are just making some questions in the application to see if you learned and if you start applying what you learned. So it's more on the direct feedback from the users and not measurements from sensors. Okay, so this is the introductory part to the project. You will now have two more technical parts. So Marina Dorokova from EPFL is going to explain a little bit more about the platform that we have behind the application and some of other developments in the project. And Fernando Cassola from Inestec will show you in more detail how the application works. It will show some screens and a very nice video about the contents of the application. So I will ask you again, if you have any question, just interrupt us. Although we will have some time in the end for a discussion. Okay, so I will pass the word to Marina.
Sure, thank you, Felipe. Let me share the screen.
Okay.
Okay, let me know if you're seeing well the contents.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So as Felipe has just said, the idea now would be to dive a bit behind what's happening on your front screen of your mobile app, to discuss a bit and explain how does the application work in its back end, and to demonstrate that actually the level of intelligence and the level of algorithms that is applied for this project, it's going beyond just what you're seeing on your screen. So to give you an idea, how does the platform look like? Here we have this nice graph. here. And as you can see, the mobile app in the gamification platform is just a very small part of overall system, of overall platform that you're actually seeing. So behind the app, the platform is consisting of several distinct elements. The first group of elements is the hardware that is connected to the physical world. So here we are having our meters and sensors. And later in the presentation, I will give you an example of such a sensor that we have developed during the project. The other big part is the part that is related to the environment that contains all the applications that have been developed throughout the project. And all these applications are working together in the FEEdBACk suite and in the DEC platform overall. So as you might know, the FEEdBACk project and the applications were developed by several different partners that are participating in the project. So particularly in this container environment of the FEEdBACk suite, we had to make sure that we are able to merge all the apps together and make sure that they are working in this kind of unique ecosystem. So who are actually the users of such an application and such a platform? So we have two different categories of users. The first one are the end users. So probably those people just like you who are using the application on their mobile app, while the other category of users are the facility managers. So these are the people that usually have kind of overarching responsibilities of looking after buildings, of looking after houses. So they are kind of the people who actually manage the dwellings on the more general perspective, rather than just the people who live inside. But no matter which category you do belong to, the ICT-based platform is applied the same way for everyone, and showing the different results and statistics that you can get out of this based on the games that we have developed throughout the app. So talking a bit more about the application, well, the two main objectives that we have had in mind while developing this ICT-based platform is first to make sure that such a platform is having its certain way to find engagement with the public. So to make sure that whoever is using such a platform or an application is really first getting the insights that they're interested about, and second, that they're really using it on some kind of repeated basis and able to track their progress and their energy savings. The second objectives that we have been following is the monitoring of the energy and comfort. So that's something related to what Philippe has said earlier, related more to the first version application that was really tied to the physical world around us, where you could actually through the screen see what's your actual consumption, what kind of environment you're currently in terms of your temperature, for example, your relative humidity, etc. And unfortunately, in the second part, in the second release of the application, due to COVID-19, this layer that's relating the app to the physical world got weakened. However, you should know that the initial overall goal of the platform was actually to provide this real-life energy savings. So I want to dive a bit deeper into three main components that we have in our ICT-based platform, where the first one is the gamification. The second one is the meters and sensors, and the third to give you a bit more perspective on the applications that are providing the intelligence behind the app. So talking about the gamification, well, we had various challenges when designing such a part for our mobile app. As I mentioned earlier, we were interested to keep the regular engagement of the users, but at the same time, as some of you who already use the app probably noticed that the app is very rich in types of different learning objects and learning content. So you have various videos, you have quizzes, and the main challenge here was to understand how to integrate this variety of different information. And the third challenge here is to make sure that everyone, no matter what kind of mobile phone they possess, is able to actually access the application. So enable the multi-platform availability. As you are using the mobile application, you have probably noticed that you have a very rich scoring system, a progression by levels. You have sometimes the push notification that you receive from the game. So all these elements were designed to keep and maintain the engagement of people who are participating. At the same time, we developed specific data structures that were helping us to configure and integrate all these various learning objects, so different videos and quizzes, as I have said previously. And the multi-platform availability is enabled by the Unity 3D multiplayer game engine that allows everyone, no matter of their platform, is using the game and actually receive the content in the way that it was designed, and have the equal access, no matter what kind of device do you have. Moving a bit more towards the multi-sensor solution. So this is more characteristic for those users who have been directly involved in our initial contained, let's say, demonstrators, because those people actually had the chance to interact with one of these multi-sensor solutions. For those of you who are not familiar with that, I would just briefly present you the multi-sensor device. So that's a plug-and-play device that is able to measure the temperature in your ambient environment, the humidity, the concentration of the CO2, and the luminosity. So what do we actually get with these four different measurements that we are recording? So as will be shown by the different applications afterwards, this initial data that is sourced is used for taking intelligent decisions in the automated way, to help you giving these suggestions throughout the game that it's probably now the time, for example, to close the light, or it's time to open the window, etc. The multi-sensor solution is serving a lot of various targets that we have defined when we are initially designing that. So it's able to communicate in the real time and to send data. It's capable to communicate with the various types of Wi-Fi, so it's compatible. And this was the idea, to make it plug and play, that anyone who is, for example, in their household in Germany receiving such a device would not have any kind of hurdles to install that. We have enabled the opportunity to store information. So in case for some reason the communication is lost for some time, your data will not be lost. So this data is actually stored inside the device. And once the communication is enabled again, you would receive your data. And the last and the most important part is the low cost for such a device. Of course, during the course of the project, the people who were participating initially in the demonstrators were receiving such devices free of charge, because they were, let's say, enabling the whole research project. But at the same time, if we look at the further evolution of the project and the potential scaling in the future, such devices are really low cost and can be enabled and distributed to various other locations to make sure that people can actually use the mobile application and continue playing the games. Moving a bit to the applications themselves, well, as I said previously, the applications were designed by different partners. To give you some examples of the applications, as you can see on this scheme, we have some applications that are able to forecast occupancy in the buildings, some that are able to predict what will be the load demand. Others are capable to make automated decisions regarding regulation of different devices, for example, HVAC, so heating, ventilation, and conditioning, air conditioning. And others, for example, we're talking about residential and tertiary load segregation, energy manager, etc. So different applications are serving their different purpose, but important to know here is that throughout this whole scheme, the data flow and the information flow is non-stop. So that means that inputs of certain applications and outputs of the others are largely interconnected, and these applications are feeding on each other for different information to make decisions. All these applications were built in Python language, and due to the fact that they were built by different partners, there was a challenge to make sure that we are compatible to make the seamless integration of all these apps into one unified platform. And another thing, as you might notice, is due to various meters and sensors, and imagine how many locations we had, all this information recordings and information measurements had to be stored somehow. So there is a quite sophisticated database management in the ICT-based platform that is sourcing data from various locations, from various devices, categorizing it, processing it, and enable it to be fed into the platform to make informed and intelligent decisions. So these are just some of the examples of various techniques that we have used to tackle these problems, but this is more going towards the particular, let's say, technical details. So that's probably it regarding the applications. But if you have any other questions on particular app, how it's working or what kind of purpose it's serving, please do not hesitate to ask. And I hope this little dive into the back end of the application made a bit more clear for you how does the whole ICT-based platform function. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Marina, for your presentation. If we have any questions, let's do those questions to Marina. So no questions for now. So I'll pass the word to Fernando that will now dive in the application ECOplay. I just want to make a remark here because the presentation is being recorded. So if you do not wish to appear or to discuss anything in the presentation, just let us know through the chat.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Are you seeing the presentation? Yes.
Yeah.
Good afternoon to all. Thank you for your presence. It was a pleasure to us, and particularly to me, an honor to be able to present the ECOplay app ecosystem inserted on the FEEdBACk project. During the next 10 minutes, or more or less, I will present the following topics. First, we are going to see a short video with 5 minutes that shows the multimedia content that are used to engage and teach us how to save energy. Okay, then we'll do a brief approach regarding the technical issues. After that, I will try to explain in more detail the ECOplay app, mainly showing you the screens with the functionalities associated. And last, just one slide to show you some statistical aspects of the use of the ECOplay app. Okay, so without further ado, let's start this presentation. Show trying to, let's see the video. I think I'm sharing the audio also. This video was produced by Lime Tools. It's a company that works on the FEEdBACk project also with us. So let's see.
Welcome to ECOplay. When people go to work, at home or to an office, they usually know it's a good idea to try and save energy, but most just forget. Then there are some staff who don't believe that simple habit changes can make a difference. So why bother? Home workers and office staff play the games as competing teams, over a minimum of 12 weeks, spending no more than 20 minutes per week. There are 3 parts to the game. Mr. C and his twin brother Claude live their lives in very different ways. The game tests if your staff can see what the habit differences are. This comedy quiz acts as an effective early awareness initiative. The Science Companion games follow to help employees understand, or to be reminded about, the science of climate change and energy saving. There are 4 of these that upgrade staff capacities, and meanwhile the challenges get harder each time.
There's poison in the water, poison in the rain, poison in the water, still the factory.
Ceres Dawn is the name of the central campaign. This game tells a story in the form of typical television drama. But hidden in the narrative are answers to the game's challenges.
Down into the ground. Down into the ground.
Extreme weather, regular power cuts, emergency energy reductions. That is what is happening to us all in Euronia in 2028. Very few can now deny that climate change is a real danger. Go back 10 years ago to 2019. There were many who did not care about energy security. But now the government have announced that the Ceres Institute will receive €7 million to develop a strategy to deal with the scientific impacts of what is to come. Dr. James Weston was shaking as he announced the grant award.
Our target will be to save 20% of our electricity bill in 1 year.
During the series of episodes, characters actually communicate directly to players if they need a nudge in their campaign habit change. There are 6 levels to this game, and this is where the real energy-saving winners emerge from. The soap opera drama, a thriller shot on location in Poole in the UK, gets everyone talking. And that leads to the competition leaderboard becoming increasingly sought after. The campaign awareness programme can include other subjects, such as managing waste, travel and commuting. Data from the staff players is captured and aggregated to create a campaign leaderboard, and their status is fed back to the teams. Is your organisation ready to play?
So we now enter on the most technical component. Here we have the visual scheme that supports the ECOplay ecosystem. Let me just underline that this is the post-COVID version, because as told Philippe and Marina told us, we have to adapt to this new context. The application available for Android and iOS environments connects with the content environments through a RESTful API, as we can see, which using a less technical language, let me say, is nothing more than a layer that connects between different platforms. There is, as you can see, the database management system is linked to the mobile application itself. Okay, whether through the provision of data, as well as the insertion, editing, and manipulation of information. On the other hand, the API itself manages all the processing that is done in the backend and allows to analyze for each user the development of their behaviors within the app in order to provide points, notification, and for certain events. If you notice, associated with the database, we have a video repository that, in this case, it's the Vimeo platform was used, which where the videos that are used on the application are hosted. The entire EcoPlay application is based on a gamification engine whose main object is to involve users by causing them to change their behaviors according to the objectives of the project itself. It is important, I think, to mention that for gamification is the use game elements and dynamics in serious environments, or let me say it's use game elements in a non-game engine. Okay, however, it's not therefore a pure game itself. This scheme presents the elements that were used during the design and the implementation process and that are present in the application. As we'll see in more detail in the following slides: levels, quizzes, videos, badges, point system, individual and team leaderboards, as well as narrative videos, soap operas, as we see on the video on the beginning, were used. All this in order to correspond to the different conceptual aspects that support the gamification environments. As we can see, goals, learning, skills, achievements, challenges, rewards, competition, and user engagement. um, so, what were the applications and tools used to develop the entire framework? Well, at the application level, we use the Unity 3D multi-platform game engine, and we choose the C# language. In the backend system, the RESTful API, it was developed using Slim PHP micro framework, obvious that uses PHP. Finally, the database management system is supported by MySQL. Let's now look at the EcoPlay app more deeply. For that, we are going to see all the implemented screens and make a brief description of each one. Okay. The EcoPlay app starts with a dynamic intro to remember that this is a feedback project. Then the user needs to pick up the language. Obviously, that is requested only when the app runs for the first time. We have four different languages available. Then the login screen appears. If the user is not registered, he must click on create account and insert the requested information: username, password, email, and the user location, because the app, as Philip told us, the app is only available in 7 different countries. After that, user must agree with terms and conditions to continue using the app. Okay. Then the main and more important screen, relevant screen, is the dashboard. This is where everything goes, obviously. Here, the user can access to some basic statistics. I mean, this area that has the circles, some statistics, namely percentage of EcoPlay players that are from your country, percentage of points that the user already obtained in the EcoPlay from the total of points available, and then percentage of players that are ahead of the user in the leaderboard. This is I'm told this area of the dashboard. Then also the user can see how many points and he have and his own team country in this case. On the also the user on each level, the user must fulfill some tasks, see videos and answer to some quizzes. All of this is available on the learning objects area. Here we have an example of the video, and here the quiz engine that has options regarding one question, and then the resume of the quizzes. It is also on the dashboard that the users has access to the remaining application options that we'll describe now. Okay, on the badges screen, user can see all the available badges and those he hasn't won that are visually different. They are no longer in gray. Great. In each of them, it is possible to understand what needs to be done to win that badges, as seen in the image of the center, as we can see. And even in those already won, there is an explanatory message as well as the points that were obtained. We have two different leaderboards. We have one for individuals that shows the individual, how many points each user has, and other it's for countries that shows how many registered users each country has. One relevant way of engaging users, as Marina told us, is to perform systematic and coherent notifications. So there is an area dedicated on the app that shows all the received notifications. Over each one, it is possible to see in detail. The notifications are sent to the system tray of the smartphone so the user can see the information about the app. The points obtained for seeing a video, for instance, the summary of the quizzes done, and the badge received are part of the notifications. For last, we have the settings stage. Here, the user can change the application language, read the help, and access to his user profile and update some basic information of his profiling. Namely, change his avatar image and also provide some short bio information. All of these updates can give a badge to users. Now let's see some very simple statistics about the ECOplay usage. This data correspond to information collected at the beginning of the last week. So on this table, the users table, we can see that we have 789 registered users. For instance, these 789 users registers correspond to almost 80,000 points obtained. And in average, each user enters on the app 7.5 times per day, each of which answers 9 quizzes and on average has 3 badges. In terms of evolution, it is clear that the majority of users are still at the initial level, in between maximum 200 points, and we have already 9 users that reach the Olympus. That is, they have finished or about to finish the ECOplay app. So, I finish this presentation, the ECOplay and all the system. Thank you for your attention. And as Philip told us, we are able to answer to all your questions or any topic that you want to clarify. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Fernando. I take the opportunity, you already stopped sharing your slide. Okay, let me share mine. So I was going to talk about the consortium. Okay. So this slide shows the consortium feedback that I missed in the first part of the webinar. So it's composed of partners spread all over Europe. We have InJet in Denmark, Lime Tools in UK, Delft in the Netherlands. We also have Municipality of Lip in Germany, PFL, Switzerland, Dexman ERF in Barcelona, and Inestec in Porto. And one important thing that I want to tell you is that you can follow all the news and find some explanations about the project in social media. So we are in Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, and YouTube. And now I think it's time to ask you if you have any questions. No questions. Okay, this might mean that we were very clear, which is not bad.
Yeah.
Okay, so I would like to thank you, everybody, for your presence, in particular to Marina and Fernando for their availability to explain more a little bit in more detail what we did in FEEdBACk and what we are aiming at. Okay, the presentation will be available in YouTube. And of course, we will disseminate it in social media. So thank you very much for your presence, and thank you.
Thank you. Have a nice
That's all from
holidays
my side.
and a nice
Thank
Christmas.
you.
Okay, thank
Yeah,
you.
have a nice Christmas. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Merry
Bye.
Christmas. Okay,
Bye-bye.
thank you.
Merry Christmas. Bye-bye. Thank you.
Bye.